We're live.
Well, hi to everyone out in radio. Is it count as Radio Land on podcasts?
Nope.
No.
I would say
podcast.
so.
Land. Yeah, does it? I feel like it's a
Yeah.
it's a good. This is the radio replacement. We're good with that. But
Welcome to
episode
the broadcast
60,
program.
the broadcast
Welcome back
program.
To the PP.
Radio Free Bunsen Terminus Radical Innsmouth Extreme Burner podcast.
There you go.
Slash music of destruction
I was
lovers.
going to call it the podcast broadcast. But
Slash J-Dog.
Yeah. Slash J-Dog.
Slash J Dog.
The Bun Bun Dogs.
it's me, Fred, along with our usual suspects, Dan and Paul.
Correct.
And joining us this time is Koq
With a Q.
Hi, I'm
and a
Koq.
K.
Hi. When Koq, when is the last time you were on here? Was it just about a year ago? It feels like something like that, right?
Was it that long?
Something like that, yeah. Maybe like 5 months.
Damn.
So that's
a
very
long
different
time.
from a
Yeah,
year.
it's a different.
That is less than half.
Is it?
I'm
It
not
felt
very
like
good
a
at
year.
math.
Let's see. Where are you here? Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. It was 7 months ago, almost a year.
See,
You had
I
us
was
cover
right.
the.
It's
you had
closer
the,
to half a year than a full year.
Yeah, you had us cover corporophilia.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. That was a fine episode.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Except for all the bits where we spoke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially me.
Should have let the music do the talking.
Fucking...
Yeah. Just hit play on the album and just shut up.
But yeah,
Did you?
Drunk as shit, and then fucking what a disaster.
no, that was fun.
Yeah, but
I was
it was
gonna
fun
s-
though. Yeah.
I was gonna say you brought up the Godfall demo to me this morning. Morning for me, and you're like, oh, have you checked this one out? I think you heard us mention like the sound of Robo Groove or something.
No,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
did that.
yeah.
We did that last week, didn't we?
I don't think so. I think you must have heard it, or it might have been just a coincidence.
It was
but-
on the reversion episode. I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure we probably brought up Godfall.
Yeah, then he brought up the demo one from '94. He's like, "Have you heard this?" I was like, "I don't know if I have, or at least I don't remember."
Fucking poser.
Yeah, there's like cowboy stuff in there. He's like, yeehaw! He says some weird shit.
Yeah, it has the oh yeah moment.
Oh yeah!
Oh,
Yeah, and then from there we're just talking, and then going into like finding out that Eternal Autumn just like dropped an album in March too. Gave that a listen, and
Yeah.
then after that I was like, we're gonna be doing the Demilich episode tonight, so why not join us? And he did, so here we
yeah.
are.
Let's be clear up front on that. We're pretty sure it's supposed to be pronounced Demilich, but we all agree on Demilich. It just sounds better.
I don't.
It really.
Lich sounds better than lick to me.
Yeah, like I'm not like Demilich. Like it's not a half lick. No, it's a lich.
I like licking.
Demi.
Right. Well, this is gonna be awkward.
The logo can be perceived as a K at the end too. Why not?
Hey,
the best
what-
bands start off that way. Demi Lich, Demi God, Demi Lovato, Demi
Demis
Russos. That's right.
Just because we brought up Yeehaw, what's everyone's favorite Yeehaw in music?
I think it might have been Oh Yeah.
Favorite.
Oh Yeah.
Oh, fine. Because I'm just
I
thinking Remember Dead Horse?
Yeah,
That
did
track
they say
Hank?
Yeehaw?
Yeah, and at the beginning of Hank. That's such a good song.
Yeah, that first Dead Horse album is almost like some sort of bestial version of crossover thrash. It's pretty.
Oh, it fucking
Pretty
smokes. I love it. Dead Horse is such a forgotten, amazing
Smokes
band.
cock, by the way.
Wow. Rude.
Rude.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I suppose so. I was gonna ask you guys if you saw the. Well, I know you two did, but Koq, I was gonna ask you guys if you saw the vomitory interview that J Dog just did,
Oh yeah.
where
J Dog's been pumping out the interviews, and they're all pretty good.
yeah, well, what did he say? He's like, Nunslaughter? And he goes, no, I don't know. He goes, unacceptable answer. You're a poser in my book. And the guy goes, oh yeah, me and you?
Gonna figure this out?
Yeah. He stands up and he's like, "Come on, Mr. Muscle."
No.
Yeah, he goes, "No."
Wait, like it, like in front of like a 7-Eleven, which is perfect for that.
Yeah, somebody said
Yeah, seriously.
like Beavis and Butthead hanging out in front of the 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
That or like Clerks or some shit.
They're drinking the fucking non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
That's a
watching
damn
the
good beer.
deteriorate one before I came on here. I was looking through the comments and well, that was a wild place. There was one that said Paul is a poser. Like other people were like a fantastic interview with Gene Hoglan from Dark Angel.
He does look like Gene Hoglan.
Yeah.
Like the second half, the latter version of a Gene Hoglan, the glasses Death Clock version.
Ah, yeah. Like you had some guys like making like a boomer tier comments like Saxon album battle, Saxon Hellfire and Damnation versus Judas Priest Invincible Shield. Comment down below.
These are
Something
albums
like
that nobody's heard besides maybe like 60-year-olds. It's like who's keeping up with Judas Priest and fucking Saxon and Accept and things like that. So yeah, they had classic albums. Just stick with those because I don't really think those bands have progressed in a way that matters to most people, right?
I don't think they've progressed,
Sorta,
but
yeah.
from what I've heard, the last couple of Judas Priest albums have been really good.
You know what? Firepower actually was a good album.
Yeah, well, I've heard the new one. I forget what it's called. Invincible Shield. Is it? Yeah, I've heard it's almost as good. So I mean, good on them for putting out good shit.
There's some guy named Metal Ben. He covers all that stuff. He's like some older guy with white hair. I don't know if you guys have ever seen him. I think I mentioned him once.
Metal
He's
Ben.
one of he's one of these guys that gets trolled a lot on his channel. Just like Music of Destruction is like huge on getting trolled. Paul was actually in his comments section. We won't say who he is on YouTube, but that was pretty funny. Paul, very very subtle. I don't think that guy's ever gonna hear our shit, but yeah, it's just sort of funny. The Music of Destruction. There's something about
his live.
his live videos because he's constantly like, no stupid questions. I don't want any clowns in my comments. You mentioned J-Dog, you're banned. There's like something about any YouTuber, Cobra, fucking some of the chicks that Cobra's been involved with. They're all very concerned about trolling, and it's what is it that attracts the troll? Is it just kind of like seeking out a lolcow thing? Even in the metal world, I think that happens.
Yeah, you just gotta prod,
Yeah.
and then get the reactions out.
Yeah.
Say, Koq, you're not the guy who runs the Sponge Dog channel, are you?
No.
The guy who like talks to himself and does
deny
like
this.
those fake interviews.
This is slander. I will not stand for this.
No, I was just asking, just because it's you are still a mysterious figure even to us here.
Well, you'll better be careful, buddy. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Every time I picture you, I just picture like those Facebook profile photos where there's an outline and a question mark in the middle.
You're gonna say like
Yeah.
MySpace. Picture Tom sitting there at the
I mean, my YouTube account's literally just something like that.
Perfect.
Yeah. I haven't changed anything.
So what's everyone's week
Yeah.
been like? Except for
Weekend?
Koq. What's your last like 7 months been like?
Yeah. Let's catch up with Koq. What have you discovered? What do you really
Start-
have to bring to the table? Just
Start
unload
right
it.
after the episode you were on ended. What happened right after that?
7 months
up
ago.
till now?
What has been really
Like,
going
full
on?
recap.
Full recaps. I've been
recap.
very busy with work and trying to kick fucking alcohol all the time. And but been listening to music consistently, like a lot of visual K stuff. Lots of death metal as usual.
Yeah, you're the guy on the Terminus Discord always dropping the weird death metal that I always like what was it, Medicine Death or something like that?
Yeah, Medicine Death.
Yeah,
from
they're
Brazil.
great.
Very weird.
Say, I
band.
was just listening to that recently too.
Yeah, as a was it Figure of Lust or something? Varus Figure or something.
Yeah, I was actually listening to one of the albums that you had recommended too. I think they were from Poland. Can't remember the name of the band. It was like a death doom kind of thing with like flutes and shit.
Poland. Flutes, that was fuck. What was it?
You know the band. The album cover has
yeah,
like a
I know the
family on it
band.
at the beach or something.
The Valley of Dolls.
Yes, the Valley of Dolls. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's a really cool album.
Yeah, it's a little bit more. It's like a rawer, more simplistic version of the first My Dying Bride album, which is cool.
Yeah, there's also like real weird death and roll-y stuff on there, so it's another big appealing point for me.
From Poland?
Yeah, Poland. Don't be like Jiub and confuse it for them for being Dutch.
I'm actually curious to what Polish death and roll might be because
Cryptic Tales, Valley of the Dolls, 1994.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's not what you would consider death and roll, right? Because most of the stuff I know is all from Finland. It seems like, and then Corpse just happened to be a strange outlier.
Yeah, sort of. It's like the Cryptic Tales. It's more like you'll have moments of rockish influence popping up, but what we consider like a death and roll nowadays, and like mainly from Finland. Maybe a little bit of Swedish stuff, but I don't know. Swedish stuff kind of sucks.
Swedish stuff does kind of suck. It's getting too much into groove metal, but not in a great way. In a way that's kind of like not terribly lame, but just really lackluster.
What was it with every band making it their third album that went in that direction? Like Dismember, Grave,
they got bored.
Tomb. Like, come on, guys. Like,
death metal was dying.
But I don't know if that's better or not than Finland, like where most of the bands never even made it to a third death metal album. Period.
I actually do like Grave Solace, but it's just more of a like simple, fun death metal record more than like a death and roll thing to me.
Yeah, then you got Horrific from the States. That's a different kind of death and roll, though.
Yeah, that is sort of different.
The one with the skeleton cover.
Yeah.
One with the skeleton, and he's like playing the guitar. He's scaring the girl in bed.
Yeah.
I have not seen this.
And they don't even give him like a cool haircut. They give him like some kind of, I don't know, like punk rock exploited haircut.
Yeah, it's like very, like flame t-shirt kind of aesthetic.
Sort of, yeah. But I guess that makes sense. I think that's the same guy from Acid Witch.
Yeah.
Ah, I see. But speaking of death and roll, there was one band from Norway that I gotten into recently. They're called the Cum Shots.
I feel like I've heard of them.
You know what?
I remember them.
Yeah, but like I thought they were gonna be like fucking terrible.
They're the ones who had a couple having sex on stage when they were playing, wasn't it?
Hey, yeah, they had
headlines for that.
fucking on stage, and like one of them's a comedian and an environmental activist. So I thought it was gonna be fucking trash, but I actually listened to the album Just Quit Trying, and like, wow, this is actually really good. Like,
every time you see a decently good album, the review always says the Thinking Man's death and roll band, the Thinking Man's death metal every fucking time.
Yeah,
think about it, asshole.
think about the cum shots.
Just turn your brain off, man.
I'm kind of curious about this the cum shots, just because when it comes to death and roll, I'm usually looking for like a very upbeat and obscure kind of thing, the way the classics like Lubricant and Sisma and the second Convulse album kind of work.
Yeah, this is like the lyrics and presentation are like complete, like, I don't know, mid-2000 wife beater core. I don't know how else to describe it. Really trashy, but the actual music is like once you get over the initial like weird shit, like it's actually really melodic and can hear a lot of post-hardcore and even goth rock in the songs. Like the fourth song, "Punch Drunk on Death," has a really beautiful piano section before it explodes back into fucking death and roll.
Speaking of death and roll kind of stuff.
Again?
Yeah.
Yeah. What, I was
as we continue to speak about.
I was on X, formerly Twitter, and I just looked up paroxysm in the search bar just to see like who's got anything to say about this, and I noticed there's probably like 5 or 6 posts all from Japanese guys who are digging paroxysm. So I think that the Japanese really dig that band, which is cool.
They even reissued the Euthanasia compilation. They seem to be into the weird.
Dude,
stuff.
I bought that because of you. You brought that to my attention, and I always liked the Mellow Dying EP a lot. I haven't had a chance to put the CD in yet because I know there's unreleased tracks on there, so I'm excited to hear those. Have you heard any of those?
Yeah, like a lot of them, they get very kind of late -- industrial kind of things, and around the end, it kind of circles back into heavy metal, but a bunch of cool stuff. But a very long compilation. It was like 2 hours.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Because I did upload the Sleep, Fly, Dream, Die EP on this channel a while ago. And that
one's like... That one's weirdly like a Viking metal.
Yeah, they have that song, what was it? Celebrate Christmas and Ragnarok or something? Celebrate Christmas and Hell?
Celebrate Christmas.
And they all go, yeah! There's this big like bar chant thing.
Was it Ragnarok Jubilee?
Ragnarok Jubilee, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a really cool release. About other stuff, like, I have to be in the mood for it, but, it's certainly worth checking out. It's like some cool melodies and stuff, but, the first 2 releases, Songs of Forgotten Souls and Mellow Dying, top-notch stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember the song specifically. What was it called? Symphony off Mellow Dying. It's the one with like that really, really catchy riff. It's like.
Oh yeah. It's spelled like symphony.
Symphony. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're sinning.
Symphony.
Symphony.
Yeah, that's a terrific song. There's something so mystic about that. That's why I like the Finnish scene so much. It was very, I don't know. It feels like there's some sort of mystical power going through the music that you don't really get from a lot of other shit.
They just did whatever the fuck they wanted.
Yeah, it's the mystical power of
just like Bam Margera.
Alcoholism and autism.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do hear a lot of stories about alcoholism, even in their teenage years, in the early Finnish scene.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
What the hell did we do this weekend, Paul? I think we met up on Saturday just to drink and hang out in the van.
Yeah, we did that. I had a whole day of with Vince. I sold some books and went to a record shop. Got that Catasexual Urge Motivation reissue on that vinyl, and then
you sold a bunch of books?
Yeah, I just sold a bunch of books.
Huh.
I've sold a bunch of books, a bunch of sci-fi books. You don't get nothing for it. You get like $1 for 60 books.
Damn.
I posted a single book for sale on Craigslist, but it's like an 1894 edition of an Oscar Wilde book, so I'm hoping to get a decent chunk out of it.
Kick it over here.
I don't have any books to sell.
Well, that sounds like a personal problem.
Just your
sell my BBR notebook in 20 years. It'll be worth. I don't know.
Some CD booklets. Just sell those.
Yeah.
Nah, I'd fucking buy it.
I'll hold on to it. Maybe it'll be gifted to somebody one day, like in my will or something. The BBR book goes to you.
BBR book goes to Koq.
All the doodles.
Sometimes there's like strange, maddening shapes that I just draw. Yeah, what were we watching on Saturday, Paul? We were watching
Watching a million
the
things.
we were watching Gary the Retard, his Cribs,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Howard Stern thing, where he like, use my couch, and he like kind of bounces on it. He's like, this is my bed. Oh, it like repeats him doing that. Everybody loves that laugh.
Yeah, that and what else the fuck we were watching?
Well, Robert was just like playing a bunch of what? How would you even describe his taste in metal? It's very it's
Right
all
now,
like it's Dio. It's like the Sabbath
it's like,
era of
it's like
Dio.
boomer
Like,
metal.
yeah, boomer metal, and he's listening to like Hellraiser by Ozzy. He goes, not the Motorhead version. I don't want to hear that.
And then watch the what was it, During Gray music video again?
Yeah, the scary Dirt in Gray music video where that lady has like missing arms, like flailing around.
All right then.
Well, you know, like Japanese new metal, new core,
New core.
You core.
new metal.
Yeah,
Well,
wait
I guess
until you
it's the same
try
difference, right?
fucking- Wait until you tried Vocaloid metal. Now that's some shit.
What did you say?
Vocaloid metal.
What the hell is that?
Have you heard Hatsune Miku? I
Hatsune
can't
Miku?
believe I'm. Yeah.
No, you have to explain. I don't know what that is. What is Hatsune Miku?
What did you call me?
God, this is so embarrassing. So,
Sweet, even
Hatsune
better. Let's go.
Miku, it's like it's a voice bank. It's like a voice synthesis program. Where it sounds like kind of this robot girl.
Oh,
And,
Miku, the
yeah.
green-haired character,
Blue
Right?
haired.
blue-haired. Okay, yeah, I've seen this around. Yeah.
Yeah, and got really popular in the early 2000s. A bunch of like pop songs, basically. Yeah, and became famous all over Japan. But some
Is this like where
Some people
Nightcore comes
haven't.
from?
sort
that
of
something
yeah.
else?
It's Nightcore is something else, but yeah, Nightcore things were popular in Japan, I think.
What happened to just good
But-
old city pop? I'm just kidding.
I like city pop. I know it got actually popular on like with Zoomers and shit. But hey, that was cool, funky music. I mean, what can you say?
Get back to me when you listen to Visual K, fucking posers.
Yeah, I do like Malice Miser. So
Alice
about that?
Miser.
yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty good, but yeah, there's lots of stuff that's pretty good, like Lunacy's debut album. That's really energetic, like a post-punk goth rock, but with supplemented with heavy metal technique. Really good.
it always seems like the Visual K stuff is strange mixes that you wouldn't really picture together, and then also it seems like
Yeah.
it's not really tailored to anybody outside of Japan. It seems too confusing.
Yeah,
I'm interested in
it's
some of
like
that
it's-
stuff.
It's like its internal thing, but I think metalheads will have lots of things they can find to like if they get over the fucking crazy costumes and
The visual
the
part.
weird shit.
Visual
Yeah,
part.
the visual part. The visual part in Visual
Jub,
K.
Jub is bringing it to the metal masses.
Yeah.
Yeah, God bless him. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a
Hope-
list
hope
of
so.
some of these things to check out at some point.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out Visual K band, there's a band called Amphibian with an album called Doppelganger. That's really good.
I was gonna say it sounds like or like Visual K is kind of like the same thing as like a jazz fusion or like a prog rock. It's like a different genre, but it's like just as stimulating as like metal shit.
Yeah, a lot of it comes from like a metal place because obviously bands like X Japan and bands before that, like a big influence on basically all the Visual K bands that were popular was a band called fuck, what was it? Shit, I don't remember the name, but there was like this very gothy heavy metal band back in the 80s. Dead End, that was the one. Yeah. And a lot of it springs from like heavy metal, post-punk, goth rock, but there's not really like a super defined sound, but like it's a mishmash of things, mishmash of Western influences interpreted from a Japanese perspective.
I think I recognize this album cover. Did Jiub once cover this?
Which one?
Dead End.
Yeah, he did an episode on Dead End.
The Ghost of Romance.
Yeah, The Ghost of Romance. That's a very good album.
Okay, it sort of. I'm giving it a little bit of a listen right now. It sort of sounds like Sabotage to me, kind of.
Yeah. The first few songs are very like metal inclined, but as you get into the middle, there's a really great mix of a goth rock and glammy heavy metal, and you won't find anywhere else.
Did you ever hear the Japanese band Stingray? That was actually pretty good.
No,
No, it's sort of hair metalish and like what would you even call that? Like AOR stadium rock kind of shit.
Yeah,
but it was. I remember it being pretty awesome. There was a few other ones. Yeah, Stingray, Japan, melodic heavy metal, power metal, hard rock.
Yeah,
I heard that.
Add that to my list.
Well, I mean, look at that. The EP from '86. That's just nice artwork. There's like a fucking. It looks like it was taken from a sci-fi book or something.
Huh. Let me see. Stingray. Let's see if I can find it. I'll look it up later.
Mm-hmm. I'll try to remember. Let's see. I'll save it on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I got it. Is it the one with the dragon in the night?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
The night, yeah, and the fucking barbarian riding the Pegasus.
Yeah.
Fred, you got like a million Visual K CDs, right?
That's a negatory.
Well,
Yeah, he's the biggest Visual K connoisseur in Canada. That's what I've heard.
I mean, that might be true, assuming everyone else knows nothing.
Come on now.
I did end up watching that movie. You let me borrow, Paul, the Shaolin Soccer.
Hmm.
It was okay. It did seem a lot like Kung Fu Hustle with the like kind of over the top, fucking like
CGI
mystical
and shit.
kung fu powers. Yeah. Yeah, the fat guy eating the egg. That was pretty funny. It's like they put an egg on some dude's mouth and he goes and eats it and they throw it up in the air and he's like chasing it. You do have to watch
Sounds funny to me.
Sling Blade though.
Yeah, I have that on the PlayStation, just waiting to put in.
I did end up watching one of Jub's recommendations, which was Kickboxer, the Van Damme movie, where his like, where his brother's like a world champion kickboxer, and then he gets fucked up. He gets like paralyzed by this Taiwanese dude, and then Van Damme like trains with some dude in a village, and he like fucks him up.
Is
It's
that
your
the
classic.
Tanaka Clan one?
Is that just the plot
Is
of
that
Rocky
the one
IV?
where he talks about like the Tanaka
Yes,
Clan?
I think so. I think it is, Paul. I think you're right about that.
Oh no, that's Bloodsport.
Oh, well, they're similar movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bloodsport and it's both Van Damme, and they're both in like, they're both fighters. So you know,
Yeah, it's like
I guess it plays the same sort of character.
Jason
it's just like an
Segel type
alternate
shit.
universe. Right.
I was
Well, what
watching
about,
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna ask Fred something, but go ahead, Koq. You got the floor.
Yeah,
You got the floor.
Okay.
Don't matter, none of this.
So
matters.
I wanted to ask Paul and you,
Oh no.
because I was recently watching. Are you aware of Nick Rakita?
The name sounds familiar, but I
Hey,
can't
like
put a
he's
face
an
to it.
internet personality. He covered like court cases on YouTube and stuff, and got very popular. But he's been using all his money on like drugs and alcohol and stuff, and fucking up his life. But there was one stream he did, and he was completely fucked up, and he was making these fucking incoherent jokes. But Dan and Paul, you two are like of Mexican descent, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was this one quote that stuck with me. Like,
Watch it.
there's
No,
this
just
one
kidding.
joke, and I want to see if you can fucking decipher what this guy's trying to say.
If it's Spanish, I can. I don't speak Spanish at all.
It's not Spanish.
Okay.
It
Speak Mexican American.
says, here we go. It says, corn chip come from Americans. You know why? Because Mexicans can't spell corn. They can only spell repair. Do you have any idea what that means?
No.
Nope.
Maybe that's having to do something with Mexicans being like landscapers and like contractors and shit like that. Maybe.
Maybe.
Because I mean, they
don't
do
know.
shit. I mean, they do shit like that for a living, but I don't know what the fuck that means. I've never heard that. I've heard a lot of things about Mexicans, but not that they can't spell. That's new to me. I've never heard that one before.
Like, this is like really. This is like a King Cobra JFS level indecipherable. Like, what was that thing he said? Like horse locks and keys. Like, this is on the same
Horse
level.
locks and keys. Yeah, I don't know what that meant either. They were talking about that on the hate bus, I think, the other day.
Yeah, I have no idea what this means. Okay,
Well,
thank you.
I don't know what it means, but I kind of want to start saying it as if I know what it means.
Yeah, me.
What was the joke
I've been-
again?
What?
So what was the joke again?
Corn chip comes from Americans. You know why? Because Mexicans can't spell corn. They can only spell repair.
That almost sounds like a really cryptic riddle. Do
No,
you
I'm just
get
kidding.
it,
No, I don't.
Paul? I don't think that means anything. I don't think that's an actual joke.
Yeah, it's probably. Yeah, it's more like a brain damage on this point than any joke.
What is exciting is the Snake Bones podcast just uploaded the Null episode where they're talking about Cobra's girlfriend on full analysis. So that's pretty fun.
Oh, just sweet Jessica.
Yeah, sweet Jessica. There's a lot of just like, what would you even call that? Like visual cues of Cobra being really pissed and not wanting her to be there.
Yes, he doesn't like her. You know?
Like on a
Female equivalent of Warlord or something.
yeah, I was gonna say like the Warlord level because you showed me a little bit of that on Saturday, and you could just tell he was like totally uninterested.
Yeah.
Those fucking flaps on that woman, man. It's
Yeah, she
straight
does
out
have
of
like
the
the
deep sea.
big chicken wing arms. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a fucking depressurized fish from 8,000 meters below.
Oh, the blobfish.
Yeah.
What do we have from you, Fred? Do we have any mail updates or the hell have you been up to? We gotta hear. We gotta know.
You're still male, right? No.
You're
think
still
so.
what?
I said you're still male, right?
What?
Let me
the
check.
fuck?
Let me check.
That's almost as bad as the corn chip joke. You're still male, right?
Any male updates?
Oh,
I think
oh my, oh that.
I think
Any
I
dude updates?
delivered the best "That's What She Said" I've ever done in my life. It just
What are you, Michael
turned-
Scott? The millennial
Yeah, but like I don't think he got one this good. So like one of my coworkers was telling a joke and it was just long, with a punchline at the end, and the person who was listening to it with me just goes, "That was really long for just, it went nowhere." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm a lot of build up with very little payoff." And I just dropped "That's What She Said," and I felt so happy about that. That was such a good. That's my accomplishment of the week.
Feel good about putting people down, huh, Fred? You a big
I
bully
mean,
or what?
I have to put myself up, right? How else can you?
Fabulous Fred wins again.
Fabulous Fred, flatulence Fred.
Yeah, flatulence Fred.
Well,
I don't
Fred,
know
I
if
have
one
to
of
let
them-
you know. I have to let you know right now that I refuse to be bullied. So.
Just
That's what she. That's what she said.
Sure thing, doo-doo, Dan.
Got him.
All right, bye. I'm leaving.
Got
Bye.
him.
Bye. See you.
But
No way,
I mean,
no way.
mail updates. Yeah, I
Fuck
got
you,
the
troll.
Satanic War Master Gestapo 666.
Fucking
Second,
clown.
no, third Stargeist album. The Demonarchy demo, Altar of Gore. The Goat Corpse Godhammer split, and Crapule, which is
What the
Quebecois
fuck?
black metal.
What was Altar of Gore the kind of more death metal-y version of Vaughn? Is that what that was?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. Every time I hear bands like that, I always mention Set, because Set was sort of like Demon Sea, but even more like simplistic death metal, I guess.
I find there isn't enough Vaughn worship out there. There was a really good British one called Swine. They released just one album, Marked by the Baron, and that's it.
Well, there was
And
Sect Pig. That one was pretty good too.
I never really got or listened to them, for that matter.
Oh,
I
there's
didn't know they were supposed to be Vaughn worship, so I didn't. I just thought they were another band on Nuclear War now. They're on Nuclear War now, right?
I have no idea. There is a vocalist there. It kind of does sound like a pig. Well, I guess that's how Vaughn kind of sounded too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, the band photo for Swine. I never looked at this before. What the fuck is that? It's
Swine Pig. Yeah, the next Vaughn worship band will be called Piglet or something.
it's almost like on the level of Terror of the Trees.
Oh, where it's just some dude with a bent hat.
Yeah.
What the fuck is up with that hat?
I don't know.
Well, he didn't want the flat brim.
What's up with the fucking effect on his face? It's like a, what was that band?
It's like an old wrinkly
One
flyer.
with Mark Tremonti or whatever. Was it Stained or something? One of those butt rock bands had an album
Butt
cover
rock?
like that.
But Swine have
Yeah, he
a
looks like a member of POD.
they have a song called Goat Coat, and that makes me so happy.
Coco.
Better than Coat the
I-
Goat.
Well, Vaughn had a line in one of those songs that went Goat Cloak, so I guess he just either misheard it or intentionally changed it. But Goat Coat, I love it. Yeah, great album. Worth listening if
Apparently
you
there's
like
another one
Satanic
called
Blood.
Impure. Who looks familiar?
Oh yeah, I remember reading about that. I haven't heard them, but
Yeah, I haven't heard it either. Oh, it's one of the guys from Horns and Hooves, which was actually pretty cool. And this has the potential to be not that cool, but it was actually way cooler than anyone would imagine. They're from New York. They it's sort of Motorhead-ish, but it's got like incredible fucking range in what they do and like originality.
Huh.
Super like black metal influence, even though it's kind of thrashy.
Super black metal.
Super black metal, dude.
super black metal.
Yeah, it could be considered super black metal, I guess. Well, there's even
it's
a
like a
vocal.
brutal-
There's a vocal part where it sounds like Tom Green yelling and Freddie got fingered or something. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I was listening to this band, Pathos. Do any of you know them?
I don't know. I usually go off of which one, from Sweden or Finland or what?
United States,
Let's
Washington.
see. Grindcore band.
Grindcore, but not really. It's like this mix of like very technical death metal and black metal that's executed really well. Like
Were you
if
listening
you
to
guys,
the demo or the album?
the album Perdition Splits the Skies.
No, this doesn't look familiar to me. It kind of looks cool though. It looks like it
Yeah,
could go either way.
Yeah,
I just
the artwork has a dangerous case of the 2000s. I recognize the cover from distros back at that point, but I never listened to it.
Yeah. But no, it's actually really good. I had my the cover kind of put me off, but the music is like if any of you like a Crimson Massacre and stuff like that,
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
is more
Crimson
like
Massacre's pretty cool.
more of like a street version of Crimson Massacre, like a little more conventional heavy metal type stuff going on. But yeah, really cool stuff. I
Yeah,
recommend
somebody
that
in the
highly.
YouTube comments says dudes are from Spokane and they sound like they're from Chechnya. Like what? And then right next to it, there's a video that says "The Heartbreak of Bobby Hill, King of the Hill Review." It's the one where he's with that chick Marie, and he pulls his pants up, He's like, what are you talking about? He's like crying. Why were you dancing with all those guys? Classic.
Yeah, there was a comment like that. Can't believe I forgot it.
What are you talking about?
I'm just going off a hunch here. I feel like the Pathos album is available
Yeah.
for very, very cheap.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of album that would be like $1 or $2 on Discogs, right?
Right?
Yeah.
It looks... It's the cover. It looks like Dollar Bin.
Yeah, like a mid-2000s trashy metalcore.
But there's so many albums that just look like crap that wind up being really fucking good.
You're just buying the case at this
I
point.
love those.
Fred, I was listening
Yeah,
to that.
it's like... Yeah, very
that
cheap
Inferno-
Sorry,
price.
what was that, Dan?
Oh, I was saying I was
Sorry.
listening to that. No, it's cool. I was saying I was listening to that Inferno album that you were mentioning when you were talking about like Cult Offensive and Triumph Genus.
Yeah.
I I was listening to the YouTube version, so like 24 minutes in, one of their songs, I noticed one of their songs has like 2 or 3 riffs that I've written in various projects over the years. I don't know if
which
that's
one-
because they were totally generic. I mean, maybe because that was like super early on writing. But
I don't remember which one
yeah,
I
it's one
linked
of
you
those
to.
cases.
Which Inferno album did I link you to? I don't remember which
The,
one it
the
was.
first one, the Duk
First one?
Slovansky
Okay.
Sile. The
Yeah,
Slovansky Silly is the way it's spelled. The Duke Slovansky Silly. There you go.
That's a great fucking album, though.
Yeah, it is actually pretty cool.
I saw them live. Whoa, I want to say like 2017 or so.
Oh, you lucky laddie.
But they've changed a lot since those early albums. But the first like 3 or 4, like very, very Czech sounding. Like it's kind of like the paragon of what 2000s Czech black metal sounded like. Cult Offensive was almost like, I suspect that the main member behind Cult Offensive is involved in Inferno, even though allegedly he's not involved in anything else except for Genus, whatever the other one is called. Triumph Genus, the band that is the same guys as Cult Offensive. Yeah. Like, that album that I linked you to, the third one, whose title I'm not going to try pronouncing, just feels so very much like Inferno.
Wasn't the one with like the eagle and the fucking dude's face in the back, was it?
No, it's just a dude's face in the middle. It might not be the third album. I don't know what it is. Like one.
Yeah, because I did listen
It's
to one.
on. It's on the first album, but
It was
might be the second or third.
Noki Riznik is the one I was listening to.
That's not the one I have. Hang on, I have
Oh shit!
the one I sent you. I think whether it's the one you listened to or not, I don't know. But it was. Oh my god, that's a long title. Radicalni Atismus. There's a circle over the U. How the fuck do you whatever. So the second album from 2009.
Okay. Yeah, I was checking out a little bit of somewhat of a classic for me of what do you even call this? Sort of generic black thrash. The Possessed by Satan promo from Earn. You remember that?
Oh god, yeah.
It's good. I mean, it's pretty fucking. It's pretty generic, but it's still a lot of fun. I mean, that was really early on for me, so I still have the. I don't know. It touches my heartstrings, I guess.
I have that demo. Actually, I'm pretty sure the.
Oh, send it to me for free right now.
I'm pretty sure the picture that's on Metal Archives is that is my copy that I just took a picture of to upload. It's like a snowman where they took a picture of a snowman and just drew an angry face on it. It's fucking great.
Shit.
I don't think they'll ever top 666 Megatons. I fucking love that album. But Dawn of the
Yeah, it's
Devastation's pretty good too.
Yeah, it's almost like they take generic black thrash and then throw a bunch of blast beats over it, so it's kind of on a different level of extremity, I guess, rather than your basic quote unquote black thrash album or something like that, like Witch Haven or something.
Well, if you're gonna listen to anything else from Earn, there's a split that came out in the early 2000s with Decade, and their half of that is absolutely bonkers. There's a song in there called "Storm of Satanic Vengeance." The opening riff on that is just sick, and every track they have on there is amazing. Decade half is pretty good too. That's an underrated band, Decade. They did a lot of good stuff.
That was the South American band, right?
Portuguese.
Portuguese, okay.
Yep.
Not South. I don't know why. Maybe because they speak Portuguese in Brazil. I assume they were South American.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're consistent. Like Conjuration of the Southern Circles, Guests, Portuguese, Cornerstone is one of their earliest black metal albums. But they're one of those bands that have a lot of albums and people kind of just stop paying attention. But they're all solid. Like if you pick up any of them, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be in the mood for a little bit more generic black metal. It feels like I'll listen to that stuff when I'm getting ready on a Saturday morning to walk the dog or something. I'll be listening to that shit.
Yeah. Well, they had a couple albums on Drakkar, Book of Darkness and Nocturnal and The Beast Has Risen, and those 3 albums are actually really, really good.
I'll check out some more of that stuff.
Oh, and we were talking about Barbarian Wrath last week, I think, but we were talking about it together. That's probably why. But the guy in Decade is in Alastor, and they are sick black thrash.
Link it.
I'm
pretty sure I've heard of Alastor. At least I've heard the name a million times.
Maybe because I don't shut up about them, but the second album, Hellword's my favorite, but they're all
which
all
one
solid.
from Chile?
From Portugal. It's the guy from Decade.
Oh.
Try to keep up with the podcast.
I'm trying, but there's so much stuff going on. What in the hell album did you say?
Hellword. Second one.
Hellword. Is that like Squidward? Okay, sorry, that was retarded.
Hellword. Is that like a
Hellword.
slur?
I think I
slur
lost
against
like
demons?
I think I lost a dozen IQ points from that.
Yeah. I remember there was this fat guy named Eddie in my
There
high
you go.
school.
Here it is.
What's that? What's that?
The fat person.
The fat person.
I didn't
sorry.
even notice. See, it just comes. Well, we were talking about Squidwards and stuff like that. You
Fredford.
remember Eddie?
We
right?
should just
We talked
make
about Eddie.
every week just have a special section of Dan's fat person story.
Well, it just popped into my head.
I know, but every week, man, I love it.
No, I know. I just said I was gonna say this fat guy named Eddie. They used to call him Pigword. And they'd go Pigword. And somebody put up this was early Photoshop kind of shit. This is 2010 or 11. They made a pig body with Squidward's face, and it said Pigword, and they printed out a bunch of them and they put them all over the school like little flyers. And Pigword.
Okay.
Damn, that's cruel.
Well, Eddie used to have, it wasn't really a catchphrase, but he used to go, I don't know, he thought it was funny or something. And they had a Facebook party invite thing, one of those events or whatever. And he's posting on there that there's going to be Nas at the party, and they got busted by one of the fucking principal or something. And they called him in there. And the cop is reading off what was on the thing, and it said Nas tanks, and he goes because he was trying to read the. You remember the cop, the big gimpy one?
Yeah.
Big gimpy one.
He was a tall guy, but he had the biggest limp you could imagine. What the hell was he gonna do? I think he ate shit one time down the stairs.
Mom.
He was he's kind of like a JJ kind of guy.
JJ, kind of.
Fuck, we had a nickname for him, but I forget.
What was his name? I don't even remember what his name was.
No, doesn't matter.
See, it was some big old white cop. He had white hair, but he looked like a Hank Hill kind of guy, but gimpy.
He kind of looked
What?
like what's it called from the Les Show. Now
Yeah,
that I
he
think
looked like
about
Big
it.
Les. He
Yeah.
did look like Big Les.
And now that I think about it.
Oh yeah, Hell Word. I gotta put this in the like videos. I forgot we went from Hell Word to
Fredward.
Gimp Word.
Don't worry, I put it in the chat.
And then, so do we go back to Fred Word or who's next?
I told you all my accomplishments of the week, and there was very little in there. So
Okay. Well, besides that, I watched Enemy Mine, which is one of my favorite movies. You didn't watch that, right, Paul?
I remember that.
Mm-mm.
You remember that movie where the guy he's trapped on the planet with the alien?
Stuck on the. Are they actually stuck on Mars, or is it just some far off alien planet? I
It's
don't remember.
just some distant planet. They're like having an intergalactic battle. They both crash there, and they must survive together as enemies, and then eventually become brothers.
Wasn't there
Yeah,
a Next
19
Gen episode?
What's that?
There's an episode in Star Trek: Next Generation, and I like that. Geordi lands on a. Oh, okay, I'm gonna nerd out here, but he lands on Galorndon core, and there's a Romulan that's stuck down there too, and they can't beam him back.
Fucking Romulans
It's always the Romulans, man. They're up to no good.
make me sick.
That's my Star Trek spiel of the week.
I only know Trouble with Tribbles.
That's not Next Gen, but I'll take it.
No, I know it's not Next Gen. I never seen that. I never watched I never sat down and watched a full episode.
Oh,
I only saw a few of the original show.
Paul, Koq, you guys, anything Star Trek? No?
Yeah,
Milo
just
here.
original series.
Oh, it's better than nothing. I'll take it.
I used to watch Star Trek with my dad. I didn't get any of it.
Ugh.
I was a dumb kid.
This isn't Star Wars.
That was,
I preferred Star Wars because it had cool robots and light swords and shit.
And it had Gungans.
Yeah, that was the best part.
Yeah, then Jar Jar dives into the water. He goes, ow, 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 ow. Do you remember they're like in that fucking battle against the droids? And that like serious Gungan, he goes, Jar Jar, use it, boomer. He goes, what? Mr. No Harry Boomer. He's like flailing the goddamn ball around. And I think he ends up like holding onto the tank and they crash into the droids. We say in deeper doodle now.
To his noise.
And then
Oh,
Boss
that's
Nass.
That's
And
nasty.
we.
Yeah, there it is.
This is a Boss Nass appreciating broadcast.
Yeah, I like this bunny hat. It kind of looked like a snail shell.
Probably is one.
Well, that's my profile pic on Post. Even though I never post there,
Yeah. Yeah.
it just happened to be in my phone with that picture.
And your name was like North from here. Yeah.
Yeah,
With the fucking Boss Nass profile.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it says sentence and Boss Nass and the dream.
You guys ever hear
combo.
the Weird Al parody of that?
Eat it?
No, the saga begins. It was a parody of American Pie.
Yes.
Yeah.
A long
That-
time ago in a galaxy
That tells
far away.
that tells a story better than the movie does.
Yeah, Weird Al was awesome. Weird Al will always be awesome. I was so surprised that they played the Michael Jackson parody on the radio the other day. That made me really happy. Eat it. Clean your
Oh,
plate.
that one's-
you
that
just
one's
eat
great.
it. He's talking about like
That's
tuna
a great
casserole
one.
or something.
You ever seen the music video for that one?
Yeah.
He actually got the original two gang bosses. That he actually got the dancers to come back and film their roles again for his.
What a cool guy. I know he also did that that MacArthur Park song where he's talking about leaving the cake out in the
Jurassic
rain.
Park is frightening in the dark.
All the
All
dinosaurs,
the dinosaurs
are
are
running.
running wild.
Well, if you ever heard the original version, it's about leaving a cake out in the rain. MacArthur Park is, what does he say? And it took so long to bake it, and I'll never have that recipe again.
Yeah, Weird Al's version's way better.
Then the cake the leaving the cake out in the rain.
Yeah, I mean Weird Al's version of pretty much everything's better, anyways.
Oh shit! Hot take. This is super millennial core. Fucking Weird Al. Amish Paradise. That's obviously better.
Yeah, no question.
Even Ezekiel thinks that my mind is gone. As I walk through the valley and I harvest my grains, I take a look at my wife and realize she's very plain.
You heard the Red Hot Chili Peppers one? He starts off with Under the Bridge and then moves to fuck, what's that song called? Give It Away. But like the whole thing is about the Flintstones. Yabba
No,
yabba
that's
yabba
pretty cool.
yabba dabba doo now.
Well, that's like spastic blurb fucking core right there.
That's amazing.
I remember there was an episode of Dexter's Lab where he's supposed to go to some science camp, but he ends up being picked up by some Amish guy in a little like a horse and buggy thing, and he ends up making a little light out of I don't know stuff he found on the farm, and they're all sitting there at the dinner table. He goes, "Hey Jebediah, look!" He like busts open the door and he has this light, and he's like, "My eyes!" Scared the Amish guy with the electricity. I don't know why that's funny to me. Same with the Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls smacking that dog around. Okay. Shall we? Without
Yep.
further to do.
Well, the only thing
Yeah.
to do is take a break.
That's right.
Yeah. All right,
Alright.
let's
Break it
Meet
up.
back in 5, eh?
Break it up. Break it up, boys.
break it up.
Alright, we're back in this ain't a drill. Let's see if Fred can crack him.
Kraken.
That was like a Dan one.
That was an open.
Yeah. No, it didn't actually open properly. Fuck.
Yeah, that was like a Dan one.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
But Fred, what are we doing here? Is this a Super Underground pick or is this
No,
classic?
this is our classic. This is our classic release.
This is your classic pick.
And it is my classic pick. And it's Demilich. I don't know if I pronounced this right. Nespithe?
Nespithe, yeah.
Yeah, it's the spine,
Yeah.
but you know, Nespithe.
This is Nespithe.
Nespithe.
Nice bit.
I mean, how could I not pick this one? So, whenever I'm asked for my favorite death metal albums, the first one that usually gets dropped is Onward to Golgotha from Incantation. This is usually the second one. I love this album. It kind of embodies what I want to hear in death metal, and I have two copies. They both have the reissue cover, the weird goat thing floating in like some bizarre
Woman
sci-fi.
breastfeeding.
Yeah, and I always found that cover suit the music better than the original zombie cover. As much as I like that art, this album is just so out there that I feel just regular plain old zombies don't really do it justice. But like when it comes to this album, I've always liked the term the bowels of hell because it's always given me the visual that the actual walls of hell are intestinal. They're made of actual tissue and flesh. And I don't know if you guys know what like the back cover of Massacres from Beyond looks like, where it's like a spinning vortex of humans kind of trapped in the walls of like it looks intestinal or kind of similar, but the Necromass second album, Abyss Calls Life.
Oh yeah, like
That's kind of the visual that I get from listening to this album, but with a bit more of a like a cybernetic kind of bent on it too. just because everything on this
totally
angle is so angular, and there's so many twists they just don't see coming and don't expect, that even to this day, like, I first heard this, what, 20 some odd years ago, early 2000s, and it blew my mind then, and even like re-listening to it leading up to this, cranking some of these tracks that just skronk in the weirdest way, uh, still makes me go, what the hell were they thinking when they wrote this? And I mean, I know it's a Finnish album, but it I don't think anyone from anywhere else could have written an album like this. But as much as I can draw some vague similarities to like Demigod or I don't know, Gore Guts, uh, to me this album is set aside in death metal. Nothing has come close to this or touches it in terms of uniqueness. And I said Onward to Golgotha is my favorite death metal album, and that's true. But that album has been all very closely replicated by a lot of bands. I don't think any of them get to the same level, but it's that sound and that feeling has been reproduced. For Demilich, not so much. I haven't found an album that comes close to reproducing the weirdness, the sci-fi bent, the I mean the guttural vocals are a given, but the way they echo, just everything about this is it's perfect. It's a perfect album.
Never heard
That's my spiel.
Never heard the Biolic omniversal
Demo?
descent upon the lower planes of conventional logic.
I remember hearing Biolic and not really feeling they were on the same level, I guess.
I think the first
Like,
one
I know
was-
they were going for it, but it didn't quite catch me the same way.
Yeah,
Almost
Because-
like they were trying. Almost like they were trying too hard. If that makes any sense.
yeah, because the difference between Demilich and other bands where they were trying to do something completely stand out and unique from anything else. Like you can hear Anti-Bowman's influences that he listed as like Bolt Thrower, Pestilence, and Entomb, but
Yeah.
I guess like the earlier demos are more akin to that sound, but with each release going up to this album, there's like it just goes more and more alien and like completely otherworldly death metal. Like I was telling Dan, like Voivod sounds like these angular sort of dissonant riffs. It's like they're the astronauts going to these alien planets and bringing back that sort of sound, but this is the originator right here with Demilich. Just
Yeah.
like the organic, groovy, fluid, but also completely. This is like one of the tightest death metal performances I've heard from any band, and
Yeah.
even what they're playing, like they're just so locked in with one another. And apparently, when they were making this album, it was all recorded in like 5 days, and that includes like the mix and master. So it's like these guys were just like completely prolific and
locked in.
yeah.
Yeah. There's been a couple bands that have released albums that were gunning for that kind of sound. Didn't quite come to the same level as it, but I'll give props to Cosmic Atrophy, Cathealist, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and the Chinese band Multifission, who pulled out a really good album too. But yeah, nothing quite. It's it's gunning for the same sound as Demilich, but they're all missing something that puts them in that same realm.
Well,
I don't know if it's the vocals, I don't know if it's the riffing, but it
But-
just doesn't quite get there.
I think just like a point I was trying to make was like these guys are like a worship band of the sound that Demilich did, and Demilich was just doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And like I think that's what they're missing. Like there's certain albums that I get that sort of feeling from. Like I can get that kind of from like Infestor or like Time Ghoul a bit, but they don't sound anything like that. They're all, you know, unique in themselves, and I think that's kind of the vibe I get from Demilich. Like it's just totally avant-garde progressive death metal that is also like technical in a way that I don't think anyone else has done besides
really done,
worshiping
Yeah.
it, like of course you can make riffs that sound like that, but you're not making riffs, you're not making a whole style of death metal that sounds like this,
It's
Or your
relatively
own
easy
version
to
of
follow
it.
too.
Yeah.
Add to your point of Demilich's influences, like about the worship bands, like they're clearly gunning for the Demilich sound, but Demilich sounds like Demilich because I think the way like the band pulls from their influences, that can't really be replicated. They're clearly latching on to stuff that other people really aren't, and like considering like Bolt Thrower and Pestilence and stuff. So I think that's a quality.
You're absolutely right. Like they pulled together those influences themselves, and that's the result of Demilich, right? And the other bands are taking Demilich as their influence, and they're just going from there.
Yeah, they're like not even adding a spin to it. It's like, no, it's like if we just get it exactly like them, we'll be just as good. But I don't think that's how it works.
We'll be the best worship band there could be.
Yeah. It's like a photocopy, right? You'll get the general gist of it, but the original quality won't be the same the quality won't be the same as the original. And that's not to knock these bands. Like I know they have other influences in there as well, but
knock them down.
And they're doing their thing, and they're doing it well. But it's no one sounds like Demilich. That's all there is to it. And maybe 20 years from now we'll be saying no one sounded like Capeesh. I don't know. But for me,
get real.
I don't know. Nothing. It's just such a fucking weird album.
Yeah, like another one.
The riffing is just bonkers.
Like another one I could put up there is like Obscura from Gorguts, but again, doesn't sound anything like it. But
they were doing their own thing too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they have in common. They don't sound the same, but they have the same kind of what?
Spirit. Yeah, because they're all equally pushing death metal to like the brink of what you can do with it without going into like total like, oh, let's get a mixed match of genres and call it death metal still. Like these guys are primarily filtering all their influences and technicality through death metal, and this is like one of the first bands to do that.
Yeah, that's a really good point because like you mentioned Gorguts, and obviously like Obscura, it's like a really unique album, but also it kind of those idiosyncratic qualities really kind of push it a little far from death metal. Like, like, can you even really call this death metal? But I think what makes Nespithe unique is that it's a death metal album. It's distinctly death metal, and but so you can only really appreciate its qualities once you've like listened to other death metal bands and like really understand what makes this special. Why is it so different?
Yeah, I could totally understand that because you need like the context of like even just a great way that I'm sure everyone knows about this band is like going through the Finnish scene and just seeing how different all those bands are. But then it's like you come to Demilich and it's like they're just from a whole fucking other timeline.
Yeah, they shoot themselves all the way to the top as soon as you hear them, kind of.
Yeah,
they come from a dimension. They come from a dimension where parallel lines meet. I don't know. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it kind of gave birth to like that like experimental sort of death metal like like Portal and shit like that. But again,
Sort of.
it's kind of like, I don't know. I kind of feel like it's a bit soulless, whereas this one is like, I don't know.
It's very organic.
Yeah, you can feel this shit breathing as you're listening.
Yeah,
you know,
with
while
Portal and Impetuous
researching
Original
this,
things.
while reading about this album leading up to this, I've discovered that I've never actually heard the proper version of this album because I was reading about the 20th anniversary reissue from Smart Records.
Yeah.
Apparently, all the versions prior to that were mastered from a 16-bit master, whereas this one, the reissue, is mastered from the original 24-bit master tapes. So apparently that one sounds very, very different and more complete, I guess. But I have never heard the way this album was supposed to be heard.
Yeah, we'll
So
end it
I
here
need to-
because I only heard the reissue too.
Yeah, like I have I don't have the original version with the zombie cover. I have the Repulse version, and then the almost identical Necropolis reissue, which is the same but blurrier and with a typo on the spine. I love it. Like the entire point of that album title is that it's a code for the spine, and they put a fucking typo on that word, and then have it as Nespithe. So this pronounces Itesfn. if you decipher it the way it's supposed to be. So good job, Necropolis. Way to go.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
that's a band name up for grab.
Yeah.
But
Nespithe.
damn, what are you? Because you're you showed me this a long time ago. So what do you gotta say before we play some tracks?
Well, you guys already said a lot here, but I guess in terms of like originality and things that sort of come close to this, I mentioned to you, Paul, that Worm, the first
yeah.
Wormed album, Worm from Spain, is probably like one of the closest death metal albums that is also super fucking alien sounding.
Yeah.
Koq, I don't know if you've ever heard Wormed, but I bring them up a lot on the show just because they're really unique for like a brutal death
I've
metal
heard
band.
their later albums.
Okay, the
haven't
first
listened
one
to
I
the
think
first
is the one to go to. Yeah, in terms of just totally strange, dissonant, dissonant, but like, what would be the word? Catchy enough to where
Yeah.
everything is actually exciting. Because I think Fred and Paul, you guys were talking about Portal and like Impetuous Ritual and stuff. When it comes to stuff like that, oh, even something like Grave Upheaval too, like that's supposed to be very, very like from the grave or from like another dimension sort of sound.
Yeah.
It's
But
supposed
it
to be like
seems-
swirling.
Yeah, some sort of swirling madness from the void.
But it's
this,
like, yeah, they're like leaving breadcrumbs that you can follow with Demilich and Wormed.
well, not just that. It's like it's super intentional what they're doing, and it's gonna appeal to people in the way that it like war metal appeals to people. Like it's a big, to me, it feels like a big aesthetic appeal, whereas Demilich is purely a musical appeal, and I feel like Wormed is also a big musical appeal because I mean even look at like the Wormed album cover. It's not anything that special, but the music on it is pretty special. And even with Demilich too, the album art is sort of similar to something like a Dromalek and Demigod. I think it's the same artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not really the point. The point isn't the aesthetic. The point is the music, and I think that's like that seemed to be way more important in the '90s. Oh, and another point that you guys were bringing up, I didn't know that Demilich was influenced by Bolt Thrower in a big way, but actually now that actually makes a ton of sense, especially
It does, right?
Especially that drum beat, because there's like a main drum beat on this album. It's like kind of with the double beats.
Yeah.
And Bolt Thrower does that a lot. That's like the main Bolt Thrower sort of passage section. And I guess the way that Bolt Thrower sort of structures things like where they come in and out of that beat with like strange, sort of unexpected type of riffs, like fuck it riffs, what we've called them,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh fuck it, like, oh fuck it, that's a riff. This whole album is basically fuck it riffs, but not in a sloppy black death thrash kind of way. It's in a, I don't know. I mean, you could kind of say that this is sort of taking the progressive death metal thing to the next step, like Atheist and Pestilence and later Death and things. But it seemed like a lot of those bands and the bands that sort of were continuations of that.
Well, I think a lot of like the just fundamental riff writing like Anti Bowman was doing was more of like pattern based, like yeah, just like doing patterns over and over again and just selecting
Yeah,
the
that's a
right
great
notes
point.
to put, and it's like you're kind of just following his fucking hands going around in these certain like angles. Like I think there was like I was reading in the Finnish death metal book, he's like, yeah, there's the song Planet, he's like, yeah, I'm doing like a fucking diamond shape here, and you could just hear that just throughout all his riffing. It's all just geometry and shit. It's pretty crazy, and I know other bands are do that and do it well, but just the way that it's put together here and the intervals and note choices here are just like top notch, just catchy. Like I don't know, are you even supposed to like this shit? But it's just you're just grooving.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
pattern shape thing actually makes sense, dude. Because like from like a guitar playing experience throughout the years, like when I've tried to do something that's more in the vein of brutal death metal, um, I always sort of see them as shapes rather than like musical patterns. And it sort of dawns on you when you're playing something that fast or playing something that sort of like dissonant and weird. The shape that your hand is doing is actually more becoming more prevalent.
Yeah, it's a lot of like left hand work, but also like right handed, because on this, he's doing like string skipping, like not only just like one string over, it's like he's skipping two strings and shit, like trying to grab like the next note. And it's like that's why you get to get like such a range within just maybe like more than maybe like 6 note riff or something that's just like different patterns. It's
Hmm.
you get like a whole dynamic range from it. It's like a heavy ass note and then goes all the way to like the E string and shit.
Yeah.
And then
One
what
last.
I was gonna say, didn't you say they're like the first one of the first bands to like tune to like A or something, right?
Yeah, they're in drop A. They're probably one of the first metal bands to do that. I'm assuming.
Yeah. But anyway, what
And
were you
and
gonna
then
say?
again, the last point I was gonna make, I was talking about where like progressive death metal was going by 1993, where you have a lot of imitators, not quite imitators. Some of these bands are good, like Violent Dirge or like fucking, well, I don't whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like the Atheist stuff, the Pestilence stuff, maybe
Yeah.
even like the
yeah.
fucking Sadist album or something.
Mm.
A lot of that stuff sort of took the same route, where it's almost like guitar shred music. This sort of takes that progression and makes it into something like nauseating and disgusting. Like, yeah, it is technical, it is progressive, but it's it's death metal because it is nasty. It makes you want to fucking barf.
Yeah.
The nauseating
My
aspect of it
album
is actually a
page?
really good point because the riffs are so weird that it almost feels disorienting to the point of
Well, they're very
nausea
circular
sometimes.
if you listen to them.
Yeah.
It feels like it's not going to end.
Yeah. But I don't think there's any other way to describe this album besides hearing it. It's like deciphering a fucking alien language. So
Yeah. Some of the
That's-
titles sure feel like it.
yeah. So who wants to get the first crack at the naming this one? Number 2.
It's not the longest song title on here, but it is the 16th six-toothed son of 14-4 regional dimensions, and in brackets, still unnamed.
That's
It's quite a song title for it to be unnamed still.
rolls off the tongue right there.
Hmm.
I
But,
think it's the son that is still unnamed, not the song.
Oh, the six-tooth son.
The 16th six-tooth son.
Or the regional dimension, the 14-4 regional dimensions are still unnamed. One of those. I don't know. In any case, that's
Well,
the first one we're listening to.
Ah, horse
let's
shit.
find out. We'll be right back. Alright, did everyone make it back alive from that wormhole?
Ah, that sucked.
Still sticky.
I'm dying.
It's sticky, icky, icky.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't even know.
Bounce.
I don't even know what to say about that track or any of them really. Like it just sounds from a different fucking planet.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were doing when they wrote this.
Yeah, you're falling through the meat hole.
Yeah, like you guys were saying, it feel you can kind of feel it. You feel you feel the meat as you're going down.
Yeah, Koq was saying,
Yeah,
like, it's like other bands are like, you know, sort of atmospheric. It's like, oh yeah, sure, there's like a cloud above you, there's some fog at your feet, but it's like, this one you can, like, you're literally sliding through a fucking tube listening to this envelops you, and it's completely a visceral experience listening to this.
Yeah.
Like a sentient vortex or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's not washing over you. You're falling through it, and you're hitting the walls, going ping pong, ping pong, ping pong, ping pong.
Yeah, and that's what that
pinball machine.
Yeah,
sort of going in unison.
Yeah, fantastic bass playing over here provides like such a big thick sound, because a lot of these guitar riffs are up in these higher notes and stuff, and so they're not really like kind of doing like, or when they're not doing the like big chords and stuff, like the basses providing that. That's what Dan pointed out.
It keeps it heavy, and because right in the beginning you get the giant guitar chords, but the it allows the rhythm to kind of go in a lot of different places rather than just be a rhythm
It's
guitar.
a tone setter.
It's a tone setter. You get that in the beginning, and then as it goes on, you sort of get more complex things, but the bass is still there to um, just keep things fucking heavy, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
And the drumming across this whole album like is so perfect and dynamic. It's like I think there's only a few blast beats throughout here, but it's like obviously a fucking extreme death metal album that you're listening to.
They're where they're needed.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think
It
there's
has
more.
a swing.
Yeah, I think it's as it goes along. Like especially like the last track just opens up with the blasts and shit. Like,
Yeah.
but this one in particular, like it just has like that bolt thrower beat that Dan mentioned, and as well as like the bounce and groove sort of drum drum beats that I can only find in metal in like death and roll like finish it just with how like bouncy it is, but they're not playing like fucking death and roll riffs along for with it. It's like these angular patterns um, that are leading the music, and the drums are like just keeping the pace up with that the intensity.
Yeah, the drums are like they're very light-footed. It's almost like tap dancing, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's an octopus on all instruments.
Yeah, and you can yeah. Each instrument has its role in the mix. I bet if you like isolated tracks, they wouldn't sound as great, but as a full unit, it really fills things out.
Yeah, this is a total orchestration.
Yeah.
And it's really dancing underneath, but the bass is just fucking walking all over this thing. It doesn't get enough recognition, I think. Everyone talks about the riffs and the vocals and the drumming, but that bass is just wild.
Yeah, the BBR were different. We talk about the bass.
The bass.
We're all about the bass.
Player represent.
All about the bass.
All right, now that we got the bass out of the way, the
It's
vocals,
It's a
man.
year of the free bass.
So the vocals are like, it's a painfully obvious point about how unique they were, especially at the time. But
No effect.
what
man.
what I mentioned earlier about this being like vomited out of an intestinal hell, that's just the sound of it. Like, what more could you want than something that sounds belch like for something that's coming out of an intestinal sort of fleshy hell? It's
Yeah.
it's perfect. It suits exactly what it feels like.
It's so wet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
disgusting.
moist. They're the most
What you notice about it,
moistest
too-
vocals.
Yeah, moist. Moist.
What
is
you
the
notice
best
about
way to
those
describe
vocals
it.
too is like a lot of the New York type of bands were doing shit like that, but they sort of kind of got the gangsta groove to those vocals. Where here, that's kind of absent. This is just it's like a fucking interdimensional ambassador. He's just sort of speaking to you rather than giving
Yeah.
you a groove.
It's like
Because the vocals don't really
like
a
groove. The vocals kind
rumbling.
of just sort of just rumble through.
That, and then he just does like the long like holds of those like just gutturals too, along with it, just to punctuate like certain parts.
Well, that's true. It's true though what Dan said about it being conversational. The very beginning of this track where he's, um, as indistinguishable as vocals are, you can clearly hear him say, 14/4 regional dimensions, part of the title of the track, and the way he says it just feels so casual, almost. It's such a bizarre juxtaposition of having these deep, demonic, belch-like vocals and describing with the term conversational and casual next to it. But
Yeah,
it's
it's
how
like-
it feels. It's just like it's so matter of fact, and that also makes it even that much more alien, because who speaks like that normally? You know?
Yeah, it's stating what you're doing, what you're going through. Like I have the lyrics up, and like all Christians and Satanists you see must be crucified before they flee. You're allowed to eat every soul. You avoid it. They are too foul. Like kind of like I don't know. It's very blunt and strange.
Yeah, it almost reads like a handbook or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The way you should be feeling, the way what you should be doing. And
yeah,
what I like about it too is like he's not really. It doesn't sound like he's trying to be very like outgoing or metal or like hard or anything. It's sort of just is what it is. It just this
yeah.
album sort of just is what it is.
It's not very like commanding.
No,
Like
not exactly. It almost seems like
yeah,
a lot of suggestion, and it almost seems like a lot of maybe this is important, maybe it's not.
yeah, sort of yeah. It's just kind of describing things. Like, you're
Yeah,
doing this, and you're gonna eat the souls, but these are too foul, so you shouldn't.
But the air of mystery is great, right? Is it
Yeah.
cryptic code for something important, or is it just total gibberish and like you don't know either way?
and it almost feels like it doesn't have an intent to create atmosphere either. It almost feels like it is just like backwards strange riffing for like sort of for its own sake. Sort of like they chose to do something like that without the intent of creating this giant atmosphere. I think that's something that a lot of 90s bands kind of get right rather than a lot of what's going on now. A lot of bands try to create an atmosphere where a lot of the older bands sort of stumble into an atmosphere. It almost seems like that's just the
Yeah,
vibe I get.
Well, it's almost like
you don't.
it's greater than the sum of its parts, right? And a lot of bands, like you said, kind of stumbled into that. When you try to purposefully do that, you're kind of destined to fail most of the time, right?
Yeah, good
Because
point.
you're not
Exactly.
approaching it from the right direction. If you're trying to create something that's greater than some of the parts, it doesn't. There's no mathematical formula to that, right? You have it just kind of happens.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with guitar riffs, which I assume come first, and then everything else can kind of work around it to help create the end result, which
Yeah.
shows this like wet alien fucking like absorbing kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, absorbing is a good word. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You've been taken in.
Yeah, Cock, did you have another point? I know I interrupted you, or somebody interrupted you. I don't know.
Oh no, I forgot. But there's a point. I guess I don't know. I'm gonna jump to another one, but the riffing, like it's like a spidery, like a parts that other bands would use for like transitions into another lift, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
the
think
riff.
that's a really yeah. Yeah, that's the main form they operate in, and they kind of like cycle through and like you alternate it a little bit to use it as leads. It's very like everything's really demarcated, but it kind of riff to riff it logically follows.
Yeah, the guitar player. Well, you can tell that the guitar player's hands just sort of don't stop. It just
Yeah,
goes and goes and goes.
yeah. I watch covers and yeah, constantly jumping around.
Don't All right. Doing the next track here, Paul. Is Paul there?
Josh!
Is anybody there?
Paul?
Josh, where are you? Tell me where you
I don't know if we
are!
can do this without being counted down.
Poser Paul.
Where is that poser?
You're probably taking a whiz.
Josh!
Well, he's the editor. And he'll do something or whatever.
Josh! Josh! Josh!
Wait for that son of a bitch because we're ready for the next track, anyways. Where's that freaking Goyim?
Tell me where you are, Josh!
Is he still here? Yeah, I guess he must be. His computer didn't die like it did last time.
Josh, is that you down there?
Yeah, we had like a
Maybe his Mike's fucked.
No, I'm back. My bad.
Oh, there he is.
Had to do some bullshit really quick.
Started hyperventilating.
Bullshit.
Yeah, my brother's car is dead, so I had to move it across the street because street sweeping's happening tomorrow.
What did you guys like? Put it in neutral and push it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would you move it? It's just a free car wash.
With the ticket.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
they
you
give
gotta
you
pay
a
for
ticket.
it.
But let's get into the third track then.
Right.
All right, your turn to say that.
Inherited bowel levitation. Reduced without any effort.
Yeah. We'll be right back. Alright, we're back from that.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
I love how I can listen to that track and appreciate it on musical level, and it's musical. I listen to it, it grooves right, it jives, and at the same
It
time I'm thinking
jives.
this makes no fucking sense. What am I listening to?
Jive ass turkey.
Yeah, you just gotta enjoy like the present moment and every second of this, because you're not gonna know why it occurred. You're not gonna know what's gonna happen next, and you don't know what you just heard. It's just you just gotta be totally zen listening to this.
Yeah, it's just there.
Yeah.
The back to that first riff though, that is a total bull thrower riff, and it kind of reminds me of the World Eater. That's the one, the World Eater riff that they reuse over and over again, like on Kill Chain and whatever. Kind of reminds me of that, but in a weird, more Demilich kind of way. But definitely see the influence coming through on that.
Yeah, it's like much like Bull Thrower, it has like a very homogeneous quality throughout the album, but also pretty distinct in the case of Demilich.
And I'll say, like, the grooves are comparable to, when they're mid-pace, like I said earlier, Death and Roll, but when they, like, really, really slow it down, it's like, the only thing that pops in my head is fucking Corn. And that's a good thing, I think. Although, obviously...
Corn haters getting taken home on a stretcher.
Garza was right. Nothing's heavier. But Demilich is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, there was that one riff towards the end of the song. It's like dun 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 dun.
It's like
but then there's like the fucking just blast beat going over it, and like Koq said, it's just like so lightly, played, but you could.
Yeah.
It's just like such a just fucks with your whole meter
Fucks
of
with your sense of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like really weird. It pulls into focus the riff, but kind of like pushes back other things. It's really
it's like-
hard to
Yeah.
describe.
It's like, why the fuck is this guy blasting over that riff? You should syncopate, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's what makes them this.
And what you were saying
funny
about
is-
messing with the sense of time, like I was mentioning that while we were listening to it, I never realized before, just looking at it over and listening to it leading up to this podcast, just how actually short the songs are. Most of them are like 3.25, 3.5 minutes, and they feel so much longer than that. And I think that's because of the intricacy of the tracks. But someone mentioned the absorption quality. Yeah, they just suck you in, and it feels like you're going through a vortex where time is no meaning. But
They also suck.
Yeah.
I never.
It-
It's crazy. Like I never realized how short these tracks are, and the album itself is not even 40 minutes long. It's not actually that long.
Well, it's like
Fucking perfect.
like a minute
is.
goes
It
a minute
really
goes
is.
by when you're not paying attention, but when you're looking at the clock, it drags on, and I think that's where you're getting here. You're not paying attention to the time, and these songs just like
You
I
get
don't know.
lost in them.
yeah, it's just like paradoxically short, but so long at the same time.
Yeah,
Paradox.
they got you by the balls.
They got you by the boo boo.
The short and curlies.
Yeah.
They got you by the bun buns.
Yeah, you're constantly
Ah.
waiting to see what happens.
Well,
One other point I wanted to bring up before we go on to the next one. Sorry, Paul. who made that fucking growling noise?
Oh, that was Paul.
Smack this kid a little
You gotta do what you gotta do.
no, not my bum buns.
bit. Yo, oh, bro! Man, no, all right. Okay, this is getting a little too graphic here. Last episode, Fred said he wanted a hand job. Now we're talking about spanking Paul. I mean, what's going on?
I don't believe that was my exact phrasing, but okay.
He said something about a hand job. I went, whoa, Fred.
We're
what
talking
the
about
what?
Ed Repka's artwork, and I don't like the way he does hands.
Right.
And I appreciate when someone does a good hand job in their artwork.
Oh my god.
Don't
Yeah,
repeat
that's
it.
terrific.
Yeah, like I
We're
said, fruit
rehashing
Fred.
material. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we do here. What the hell is I gonna say again? Oh, right. On this track, there was a riff here. I said that's the most normal riff. It's like, and you would expect the fucking blast beat to go right there, but no, it goes a bit. That's the corn part. It's the new metal part. And then right after that is that chorded part where you wouldn't expect a blast beat, but hey, there it is. That's like 5 fucking chords.
Boop,
Dun,
there it is.
One, boop, there it is. Oh, there it is. Yeah, you got like 5 chords right there. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
On one hand, I see what you're saying. On the other hand, I'm like, don't say this about Demilich.
What about
You want
corn?
fight? You want to fight, Muscle Man?
Yeah, come on, Mr. Muscle. No.
Well, with that,
Yes.
let's get into the fourth song. The echo.
The echo.
Replacement. Sorry, Cock, I stole that from you. I'll cut it. You say it.
Okay. This is the fourth song on the album. It's the echo, colon, replacement. Fuck, I fucked it up! Fuck!
Parentheses, actually.
Yeah, it's the echo.
Yeah, Fred said
Whatever.
brackets.
Fucking listen to it, dude.
2 parentheses, please.
Well, I was trying to go for a little meta thing there because you just echoed what I said.
Oh.
Instead, Cox said, "Fuck, I fucked up."
Even better. All right, we'll listen to the fourth track, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, we're back.
I see what you did there.
I'm listening to the track.
Echoes. Echoes. I love that album also.
Oh, the Panthymonium one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that scared me one time when I was falling asleep. I heard the
In
end of that
bed,
and
yeah.
scared the shit out
I've
of me.
had experiences like that.
Yeah, I fell asleep listening to this, getting probed.
Getting probed. I woke up and my bum hurt.
Reenact the whole thing.
The comedy album, the lyrics are funny.
But yeah, what can you say about that track, man? I think
Like you don't. I don't think you get as much as like the time stuff we were talking about, but it's a this track main appeal is like the very abrupt shifts all of a sudden, and that's a thing that they're really good at. Also, Demilich, I was talking about a few songs ago, like how every riff is kind of demarcated and distinct, but it all logically follows, and that applies to like transitions to the next riff. Like you wouldn't think like really abrupt thing like that would be like would be natural, but it isn't really jarring. It makes complete sense within its own.
I love that the opening riff, and like I was saying when we're listening to it, it's such a weird riff, and like I know the album like you guys by heart. I can hear that riff in my head any day of the week. Someone asked me how'd that song go, I'm just like, I don't know. Like it does it does what it does. Don't ask me to hum it. I can't do that. It does it. Just listen to it.
Don't ask Fred to give you a Hummer.
Wow, we're going there now.
Sorry.
Well, I am leaving.
No, you're not.
Oh no!
Dum, 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 dum,
For
dum.
the third time, that would be the third time you've left mid-episode.
Stormed out mid-episode.
Man, we can't have your classic pick be a Fredless episode.
Yeah, this is your pick.
Can you imagine? Well, this is my pick, guys. Enjoy. You talk about it. I'm out.
Gotta go.
I'm out.
Yeah, well,
Wundle
was
plus
saying,
Wundle
is
equal
really,
Toodles.
Yeah.
What?
He said one. What did you say? One doodle plus two doodles.
No,
equals
Wundle.
Toodles?
Wundle plus Wundle equals Toodles.
Toodles. I understood. Very good. Just to bring back Koq's point here, he brought up that like a lot of this is kind of samey, or maybe it was Paul that brought this up the other day. One of you guys brought this up.
Yeah, I think it was me.
Yeah.
It is really samey, but it does have a very distinct quality to it that no one else has really like picked up on in an original sense. Like everyone who's done this are obviously worship bands, but it's kind of interesting that on this album they don't really venture off too much, like besides the sort of riffing that they already have established. Like they do different variations of the same ideas throughout, basically.
Yeah,
and I think that's cool. I mean, it makes for
It's more
like
clever.
it's like it makes this album like stand out more in its in its singular sense, and it sort of makes sense that this is their only one. I mean, what else could they possibly do as this band? Even on this album, all the ideas are touched upon, and that sort of created its own like worship kind of thing. Even like Repulsion or something. How they've kind of been living off the same album for a long time.
We even fucking tried to do a Demilich worship song too.
That was unintentional, actually. Most of the influence for that came from a Funebrae, but it actually did come out sounding like Demilich a bit.
Nice.
Good song, actually.
Good song, actually. Good band, actually.
Damn it!
No, but this album is like consistent all the way through. Like you were saying, they're all using the same parts and just rearranging them in
same,
different
same
parts.
ideas, you know, in different aspects.
Yeah, and
There doesn't need to be another Demilich album. It just doesn't.
no, I think it's gonna, like, I completely don't understand this musically. I just know I fucking love it, and
Yeah.
like, I don't know if there's like people doing covers of this shit or, you know,
There is. Multivision had a Demilich cover on their album.
Also, what was that German band? The one that did Into the Absurd. They had a cover.
Into the
Oh,
absurd.
Flesh Crawl?
Yeah, Flesh Crawl. Flesh Crawl had a cover of what was the song? Raped, Embalmed, Beauty, Sleep. Yeah.
They did.
In '96.
dang.
In '96 also. That's really early.
I was about to say Into the absurd. That's earlier.
Yeah.
I've never heard the.
But,
Okay, yeah, I've never heard the '96 album from Flesh Crawl. Only the first one.
Blood Soul. It's pretty cool.
I don't even
They're
remember where I
kind of-
got this, but I had that fucking cassette that descended to the absurd.
They're kind of solid all the way through the 90s. Like, I
Yeah.
kind of dig them all the way up through Blood Red Massacre. After that, they don't offend me after that, but they're not
yeah,
on the
like
same
people
level.
will,
Made of
talk
Flesh was
about
cool.
Made of Flesh, yeah, the melodic album.
Another point that I wanted to bring up now that I'm thinking about it, I mentioned Wormed as one of the other death metal bands that sort of create their own atmosphere out of the like technical, progressive, brutal type of deal and make it their own. Another BBR favorite, fucking the early Nomicon stuff. I
Yeah,
think has
Yes.
sort
Oh
of
yeah, this is totally in vain with Nomicon.
Yeah, I can see that.
yeah, it's different, but they both kind of have the same like formula. They
Yeah.
both have a formula. The riffing is hard to follow, and it's hard to comprehend. But I mean, Paul, you remember that song that we just did, the one that sort of came out sounding like Nomicon?
yeah,
And when you heard like it was only like a minute long, but there was like 20 different riffs and like 1 count, 2 count, 4 count, whatever.
yeah.
You know, it sounded like it was going to be hard, but it was actually much easier to get through than than meets the ear, I guess.
Yeah,
I feel like that might be the case with Demilich too. If you sat down and learned these songs, it probably wouldn't be as difficult as you would imagine. Because I hear the shapes, you know, all the shapes do sound like they'll make sense once you get a hang of it, you know.
yeah. If you loop it around, you can like air guitar certain parts.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Same goes with Nomicon. I mean, Wormed might be a little bit different because that's sort of getting more into the like more dissonant than most bands would get.
Yeah. But I think now we should go into the instrumental. This one is insane. I can't even fucking say it. How'd you say it, Koq?
Sentinel.
We'll go with that. And
Irritation.
we'll go with.
Urinal?
I'll just say the 8th track,
Correct, urinal.
the instrumental.
The urinal.
The urinal.
All right, we'll be right back.
Oof.
We're back.
Ooh, mama. That
Yeah, that
feels
is
like you're just
them.
falling further down that vortex even
Yeah.
more quickly than before.
Falling up.
Feels like they're showing you their full power right there.
Yeah.
Falling inward.
Spinning at the bottom like the Tasmanian devil.
No, but like this, obviously, the instrumental highlights more of the, instruments. But then overall of it, you can
Well
hear.
done, Paul. Well
You-
done.
Nice!
You can still
Bitch!
have all these experimental vocals going on. Like he's growling and hissing and just like breathing and doing like higher, more kind of gurgles all over this, just punctuating certain changes. And in this track, you can just hear how technically comparable they are to like Namacon. Just the way that the riffs sound, but also they're not so quick to change parts. They'll have them like seep there for 4 or so repetitions, and then it just goes into something completely different, or they'll like lead into a different variation of that riff. Like I think it was the third one that just added like a note to that phrase and just made it longer in a different time, and then from there it went into I think it was like a blasting part, and then just had like solos over towards the end. And yeah, this is, I don't know if this is at their most like chaotic, but it seems like it to me.
It takes a lot of twists and turns, and I think chaotic's a good way to. I'd say it's the most chaotic track on the album.
Yeah.
For something completely different.
Monty Python.
Yeah, it's got the lag to it too. I like that.
Yeah, that second riff was like, it was just like an off time beat, and it was great. And then it has like the bossa nova part towards the middle, and it just like highlights what you said about the drummer having like that Latin influence, which is sounds sort of lame in theory, but when it's done well, it's like, why isn't this like in like every metal drummer's arsenal?
It's not atheist Latin influence.
Yeah.
It's not like the Samba Brisa from Elements.
Yeah, they're not playing the fucking what are they called, the claves.
I love how at the very end of the track the guitars finish, but the drums keep going like nothing's changed until they end like a second after the guitars do. It's such a weird closing to it. Love it.
Yeah. Just a phenomenal track, and it stood out.
Phenomenon.
I could have picked like
Phenomenomicon.
any song on here, but I think
I should just play the whole album.
Phenomenon.
this will be the longest BBR episode. Just the rest is gonna be the album. But let's get into some concluding thoughts, because
Paul's got to go.
I gotta go.
Damn, you're late, Paul.
Always.
Keep me waiting, and it's getting aggravating.
But
Who goes first?
Fred, go. Oh no, that's your pick, Dango.
Last thoughts, huh? You know what I forgot to bring up too? That I think is a big drawing point for a lot of people. The fucking logo looks cool.
Awesome.
Looks like a bunch of the branches, trees, like twigs or something.
Yeah, Anthony Bowman was saying that he's like he drew it
veins?
himself, and he was saying that he's all, I used to like just copy logos, and he would like make his own patches and stuff like that, and then he just got inspired to kind of do his own for this band, and then he's like, it's like over the time just getting more and more symmetrical, but still, even on this this 20th anniversary release, it's still a little off.
Oh, with the
Which
symmetry.
is cool.
Yeah, but fucking it's like perfect death metal album. I mean logo.
You're right with album too. But
Yeah, because
like
it's
veins
like
and
going
shit.
in completely different directions, like how angular these riffs are. Just
I mean,
rationalizing.
It sort of fits in with a lot of the top tier, like I guess old school techie kind of death metal, like we were talking
Yeah.
about Gore Guts, and I think that Human Remains kind of took what Gore Guts did and sort of like shifted it into an even stranger direction. It's hard to even explain what that album does, and
Sort
I
of
feel
like
this
hardcore.
Yeah,
is
definitely.
it is sort of hardcore, but it works, and yeah, the Demilich album just has a ton of shit that's like was was not really utilized at the time, and in a way, it's sort of I don't know how much this actually influenced a ton of in original shit. Like we said, it's influenced a lot of worship stuff, but maybe that's I don't know, maybe that's what helps it stand on its own. And also, what's his name? Anti Bowman. He fucking he's also got like a more normal death metal project. If you guys have heard Winter Wolf, it's more normal, but it's more it's just super catchy. And I feel like here, even though everything is so dissonant and so strange, everything is just memorable. I think maybe the drumming has to do with that, and I don't know that the vocals do. That might help with the dissonance, but there is something here that sort of keeps you coming back, and it's a classic for a reason. And whoever would like to go can go, Paul or Coq.
Kako.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So, I mean, what's there to say? It's a classic. To add to the point Dan was
Correct.
making, the like, you can take influence from Demilich. I don't think bands should try to intentionally try a worship project. Like those are cool and all, but I think it kind of goes against the spirit of the album of like being original and distinct. And I think that's a quality that inspired many other bands. It's like not like a direct influence, but so like the spirit of it.
Right.
I think
right.
that what really makes the album, it's very unique, but it's also very death metal at the same time, which you can't really find. Like there isn't any other album I can really think that sounds this alien, but still firmly rooted in death metal
Yeah.
at the same time. Yeah. So it's a one of a kind. It'll never be replicated, and you should listen to it. And those are my thoughts.
Paul go. Oh, that's me.
Right.
So this album, I think out of all the releases that we've talked about, this is the one that I listened to the most, like throughout the week. Just like I put it on back to back. I think like one day I just listened to it 5 times in a row because it's just that fucking good. And
Death metal sicko. You brutal death freak.
no, because it's like when you listen to this and then you try to put something else on, it's like, oh, just this is like just such
Everything sucks.
a high standard for just death metal in general. And like what Koq was saying, it's like, yeah, sure, you can get experimental and like add certain aspects to your music, but it's kind of getting away from being death metal. When you hear this, it's like just death metal from another world. And I would just like to close with saying from this Finnish death metal book, Antti Bowman, he said he was like sort of ashamed that he was part of like a death metal band. Like he says it was quite awkward for him to even talk about the band for some time after Demilich disbanded. The popularity of death metal was at an all-time low, and maybe the musicians involved were growing up a bit. Death metal seemed like such a thing in the past for quite some time, and the subject almost seemed ridiculous. And he says, around 1993, I was almost ashamed of the fact that I've been part of a death metal group. Definitely, it remained a problem for me for quite a long time, to be honest. Like, what's to say when some relatives of a girlfriend and such have heard I was in a band and asked me what could I tell them. solely not the fact that I had a band going just recently that sang about intercourse with dead mothers and later about dissecting people in between different dimensions. And it's like oh man, like how can you be ashamed of this? You should be like extremely proud of coming
So
up with something.
It's an interesting mindset. Never heard that one before.
Yeah, it's just like so like
Alien.
yeah, it must be you know disturbing to like I guess think from the outside perspective of like, well, what the fuck is this? Like even the people who are seasoned with
that's why we hate
extreme
normies.
music. Yeah.
I mean,
Like-
I get it though. Like you've been in a death metal band and you're going to, you the band's over. You kind of go back to normal kind of life, and you go on a date with a girl, and I was in a band. Oh, can I hear your music?
Yeah, imagine that. Like
You hit play, and all she hears is
Yeah.
burping, and you're like, fuck.
yeah, you're just like on a speed dating. And you're like, all right, what's something about you, musician? Oh, let me hear your music. Next.
Wouldn't it be great if he speed dated doing those vocals? We said it was very conversational. The vocals, it was like, I came in. It was just like, hey, how are you doing? And like his vocals, that'd be amazing. Do you just burp your conversation with me?
But again, like
Maybe.
I was gonna say, like with the classic picks that we have, like no shade on rigor mortis and dismember, but like this is like the best one so far out of the classic picks. And like I was intimidated about talking about it. It's like, what can you say? And then it's like such like a obvious like cult classic pick, but like I'm glad we were able to cover this one. And yeah, thanks for bringing it on, Fred. And let's hear
Yeah.
your thoughts.
Uh,
Oh, one more
yeah,
thing.
I mean-
So glad we saw him live.
oh,
was
jealous
awesome.
of that.
It's once in a lifetime.
Are the
Glad-
vocals still the way they were on the album when
Yeah,
you hear them
yeah.
live?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Dude, they're
they
like
just-
it's like
Amazing.
copy paste
Amazing.
from the
They
fucking
just
studio.
like turn them up real loud because you can't do vocals like that.
Yeah, they
loudly.
got the gain up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah,
And
just
I'm glad Auntie Bowman said, "Donald, is he here?" After somebody said, "Fuck Trump" at his show.
Sorry, Fred.
But I mean, no, it's all good. I mean, what can I say that I haven't already? Well, like I said, when it comes to my favorite death metal albums, this and Onward to Golgotha are muttered in the same breath for me. And Onward to Golgotha kind of has the murky, dark, literally underground, blasphemous thing going, and that feels like a very evil, dark, unholy place. Demilich is like, I don't even know. Like it's so hard to describe. It feels intangible what it actually represents, but it's very different from Onward to Golgotha. It's got, again, that alien, otherworldly, other dimensional kind of feel to it. That to me, so few bands have been able to come close to replicating. And like I said, some bands might come close. Like I'll probably be listening to Cosmic Atrophy later because I haven't listened to them in a while, and they're great too. But it's the mix of frenzy and bizarre riffs and deep guttural vocals and their extreme yet conversational style almost. Everything about this album is unique, and this is really a band that was doing their own thing. I don't know if they realized at the time just how much they were innovating and how off the beaten path they were going with this. But it is way the fuck off that path, and I don't think they could ever find their way back. I don't know if I'm glad they only had one album, because I really wonder where they would have taken it. But at the same time, with just this, they've left behind a perfect discography. There's nothing I would change about this album, front to back. It's just perfect. It's a 10 out of 10 album for me.
And another anecdote of you were saying, like, you don't know if they knew what they were doing, like, in a sense of, like, creating such, like, a alien cult classic death metal album. Like, even the fans at the time, like, there was, Auntie was saying that during the show, they were, like, opening up for Beherit, and it was the time where death metal was dying and black metal was at the rise, so Beherit came along, and they were opening for them, and there was just, like, bands in between, there was fans in between each song that Demilich played, and they were like, bring Beherit out, like, they weren't fucking with this shit, like, and they're just, I can't believe people were wanting to hear something else.
Unappreciative.
Yeah, ungrateful.
I do wonder if, and I haven't really read any interviews with Auntie, but were they under the impression they were just releasing another death metal album? I mean, they knew the vocals were different because they put a statement in the booklet saying that there was no effects on the vocals. But did they know just how different this album would turn out from everything else? Or was it just, we're doing a death metal album. It has low vocals, but it'll be just another death metal album in the pile of death metal albums that's coming out right now.
Well,
I wonder.
I think that there was, like, a certain, like, haste with a lot of the demos that they were releasing, like, because they were saying that certain bands at the time, I think, like Funebre, Demilich, like, already had, like, demos out, and they wanted to get to that certain phase, so it's like they kind of shit out a demo which was more straightforward death metal, and then he felt more relaxed after that, and then he's like, all right, now we can actually start finding our sound and doing what we're, what's here. And, like, I think with that, like, anxiety and perfectionism, like, that he had was just like, the perfect, like, he was the Frankenstein to this monster and shit,
Yeah. No, just, again,
Not the
perfect album.
Frankenstein.
That's the only way I can end my spiel about Nespithe. It's a perfect album.
That it is. Koq, any parting words?
Parting wisdom.
Words of wisdom. I don't know.
Partying words.
Fucking listen to it. You should worship this album. You should sacrifice your daughters to it.
Yeah, worship it, but don't make a worship band out of it.
Yeah.
Just bow to it and leave it at that.
Yeah.
We're not
That's what you
worthy.
should do.
We're not worthy.
We're not worthy.
Does this guy know how to party or what?